What's going on? My name's DL Yancey, singer-songwriter from the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, originally from Hampton Roads, Virginia, here with Southern Collective, having a grand time with my friends here. I have a new song that I recently recorded that I'll be releasing real soon, and I wanted to take the opportunity today to share it with everyone, and it's called Just Another Song. And the basis of this song kind of provides the perspective of love and how sometimes love can tie us up, but at the same time it can free us. So the backdrop of the song is pretty much a story about a young man who tells his friend about the love of his life. And they were, let's say, high school sweethearts, and they went their separate ways after high school, and they were still talking with one another. They still had that love that they shared for one another. But it came to a point in time to where the girl, his girlfriend, sent him a message and pretty much said, "We can't do this anymore." And he showed his friend the message, and yeah, it's a song about the message that he got from the girl, and it's called Just Another Song. She said, "My darling, I'll always be your girl." And she said, "My love, you'll always have a place in my heart. The times we shared are a permanent stain, imprinted on our brain. It's irreplaceable, yet unregainable. The thought of us remains, yet it's unattainable. So don't call me no more, don't write me no more. I gotta move on to see what love has in store. She wants love to be closer than just a thought in her mind. She wants love to be closer than just words on a page. She wants love to be closer to her physical body. She wants love to be closer than just another song on the radio. And she said, there's another kind of love that's been hanging around. And she said, he's not quite the same, but at least he's here, laying next to my frame. He don't laugh at my jokes, up he feels I need to grow. He's nothing like you, he's all serious, yo. So I am a moment, and there's those times when I wish you were here, but it plays with my mind. So don't call me no more, don't write me no more. I gotta move on to see what love has in store. She wants love to be closer than just a thought in her mind. She wants love to be closer than just words on a page. She wants love to be closer to her physical body. She wants love to be closer than just another song on the radio. She wants love to be closer, to be closer, to be closer. She wants love to be closer, to be closer, to be closer. She wants love to be closer Then just a thought in her mind, she wants love to be closer. Then just another song on the radio. Just another song.
I've written these words before from the dreams and depths of my wildest imaginative soul. I write these words today from a place of peace and security. Many see the new year as starting on January 1st. However, I tend to feel that the year becomes new when winter breaks and daylight savings time lets loose a flood of sunshine. The fresh growth makes the view burst, pop, and then quietly hum to itself, providing not only a sight to see, but a song for which to listen. I have a best friend named Russell Howard, who knows everything about birds. And when I think of spring and focus on another friend, James H. Duncan, I hone in on the issue of how important listening is. And then I listen for the symphony of birds. Russell, the lay ornithologist, can hear a bird or several birds and tell you without hesitation what the bird is, and then all the specifics to its breeding habits, plumage, and migration. I am a wonder-struck kid every time he talks about them. Not robbed of nature's magic with the gain of a name, but swoon at how words and sounds and smells and friendships come together to prove the universe is one spectacularly groovy place. Those meant to be in your life for a moment are fleeting blessings. Those that hang around for the long haul, like James, Russell, Jenny, Holly, Honey, Outler, Restucia, the Womps, and D.L. Yancey, make life worth living, and a life that can seem most unholy. I listen. More than ever before in my life, I shut my trap and let others sing, cajole, and laugh. It's humbling to take a back seat, and it's restful. It is to take a deep breath of hopeful resignation and then exhale all the noise I've put too much stock in. This issue and this show and this year is all about looking forward, not backwards, with the poisonous perspective too much nostalgia can knit from nothing. I turned 41 years old this year and can say with certainty that young is dead bang right with the quote, all life before 40 is just research. I listen because I am far from figuring it all out, but I believe I have a few notions close to correct. To listen is to love. Love is another aspect of the human condition that you will pick up in this show as you do in life, as you do in sleep. You can't get through spring without thinking or experiencing, finding a full rebirth of what love is in a sea of misused sentiments. The all of the Southern collective experience and this show, Dante's Old South, is my heart, and I hope beats in yours. It's a pumping, pulsing, heaving organ that's a skittish beast and can become a wren nervous on a low wire. And then if Aristophanes is right, that there's a loose half sphere of another waiting on you, or maybe even found, it congeals softly into one perfect circle. Love is hope. Love is freedom. Love is to see another thrive and take joy in their joy. It is most curious to see me and then to see someone else. And both of us, while happy, are hated by someone who is not. I lose no sleep over this. It is simply their brink of chaos. So let's love. Let's all love lucky and discover our own birds to admire, friends to cheer, and lovers to leave us spellbound that the sun can do so much.
This is actually one of my wife's favorite. It's called Superstar. And I wrote this song about my niece who was going through some things with relationships, and I wasn't there at the time, and I was just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like feeling it. So it's called Superstar. She's unapproved by the natural eye in the natural realm. She's unqualified, but oh no, the flesh sees it twisted. Inside the moon, beyond the sky, in the space above where the angels fly, she's gifted. There's no doubt she's different. She's overlooked almost all the time. She doesn't fit into that prototype, cause she's designed to shine in her own light. But the problem is she don't realize she sees herself through worldly eyes. Her beauty is trapped on the inside. A superstar trying to find a place in a galaxy amongst the cosmic rays. A superstar trying her best to shine in a world that's filled with dust and clouds. A diamond in the skies. Finally here comes a guy who takes the time to keep her high, and all she knows is she really loves him, cause he's the only one who's ever cared enough to say he's ever seen. Nothing more precious. Let the truth be told, he really didn't, cause all the wilder treasures hidden inside of a gold heart. It's just too bad he stuck around to beat her up while he let her down, and now she's under the earth's ground. A superstar trying to find a place in a galaxy amongst the cosmic rays. A superstar trying her best to shine in a world that's filled with dust and clouds. A diamond in the skies. A superstar, she's trying, yeah, to find, yeah. Superstar.
Scott Thomas Outler. I met over the internet and is now here in real life, and has been in the Southern Collective experience for almost a year. And he has been writing poetry for as long as he's been drawing breath. And in the time that he's been working on poetry, he's been making it better. And it is a quality I noticed, and I'm not the only one by far. He's recently had a book come out and has another one coming out very soon. In fact, it's a wonderful problem to have when one of your best friends comes to you and says, I think I have too many books coming out at the same time. And having to look and say, well, tell one of them to slow down. He says, I'm trying to. And then he has to remind me, are we talking about our girlfriends or books? Or I said, let's just keep it simple. And he would say, talk about some poetry. And since that point, Scott has been a best friend and a close friend. And those the two things don't always have to be the same thing. And thank God that they are. And on the drive here, he did not cuss at me once. And it's quite a long drive with a lot of curves. So, Scott, take it from here.
That's not entirely true. I did cuss a few times. It was just under my breath. Thanks, Cliff. All right, the first few pieces I'm going to read are from my chapbook that came out in December of 2015 through Transcendent Zero Press, which is run by Dustin Pickering and ZM Wise out of Houston, Texas. The collection is called Songs of a Dissident. And this first piece is Trump Hand. How many bombs dropped from all of the war props, poisonous and poised to hiss with a snake's tongue. Venom on the fang drips with needlepoint precision, shock and awe proclamation. A river of fire in a ring around the city. Mercury enters the blood, a kill shot to the mind. Alzheimer's and a loss of fight as the hawks and vultures cry, mission accomplished. And they send in the bloody eagle to pick up the pieces. How many lives lost from all of the lies cast, carelessly and callously, with spiteful intentions, malicious persuasion, 1,000 points of propaganda from the lips of cowards, hiding behind doomed and decadent empire, dilapidated and disintegrating, toppling like a house of cards when a hand of 5 aces is laid down on the table by the collective force of a Renaissance revolution. How many souls will rise on the day that the truth takes flight, lofty and laced with visions of a lit-up nebula being born, in the blink of a moment, at the brink of a new age, sipping freely from the full well, raining love from the constellation, with a song from the spheres about the cycles of time, the wheels they spin, the gears they turn, the dust drifts away as the phoenix flows out from the ash. This is chokehold gag reflex. Up on the steep roof, blowing leaves from the gutter, I come to realize an appreciation of just how precious and precarious every single step in life is. One slip might mess you up. Walking along beside the street, watching cars pass in the cold of night, I get a craving for some fresh air, not just stale smoke, tailpipe, smog fest. One breath might seize the lungs. Staring straight at the TV screen, going numb in every neuron, I found a trance with the program, turn my head and get sucked into the shallow waves. 1 hour might drain all soul. Sitting down for a warm meal, dinner table with the heat on, I know it's true that the energy used to keep me safe from cold comes at the sad expense of stealing Earth's black gold. One drill might shift the plates. Catching flack in my own mind for creature comforts of the modern life. It'll drive you mad trying to save the world. It's all illusion, Lord, just lay me down. Sleeping soundly between satin sheets, snug and cozy carefree nonchalance, I paid my dues throughout the day, won't wear a millstone through the night. Venom-laced jackal fangs. Holy jihad nation, coming home in pieces. Launch another bomb in the name of freedom. So many die too young, seeking something pure to believe in. Think they've found the truth, but what they bought into was treason. Fat cat politician perched atop the congregation. Enact another crony law, no second thought nor hesitation. Every dollar stuffed in their pocket is like a knife unto the navel. 1,000 small cuts later, look at the bloody mess we're left in. Screw job by the black heart, naught but coal in that chest. Mine it from the mountains, then set the lake on fire. No water in those veins, smells of petroleum jelly. Plastic vampire souls rape and pillage the city. Rolling into town, here come the snake oil salesmen. Vials full of drugs, they push their synthetic poison. Step right up and see, a mark is born every minute. Preach it to the flock and find out which fools believe it. The hype machine burns hot, slime spews fast from the presses. Propaganda laced with venom sent out from corporate jackals. Saliva drips from fangs, they can taste the next victim. A new war set in the scope sight. Hair trigger pressure. And squeeze it. All right. This is a few pieces from the next collection I have coming out soon through CTU Publishing, which is run by Raja Williams out of Santa Bernardino, California. These are a few shorter pieces. Newspeak, sowing season. Some people try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But I'm far more interested in planting 2 seeds at the same time. Detoxification. Chaos enters the spaces of stagnation, not to obliterate, but to break down what is not working, so the inherent pattern of order can emerge in a new light, and the holy path of inward peace can once again be seen clearly. The choice to destroy is not necessarily negative, but sometimes absolutely necessary, as a way to tear apart at a dilapidated structure so a more solid foundation can be established upon which to build a temple of health, happiness, and love. Life is not always easy, but the trials and tribulations are inherent in the process of progression as a way to push evolution forward, and the challenges that naturally arise are a godsend of grace, presented to teach the lesson that we are creatures of adaptation and survival. This is from another collection that's coming out later this year called Chaos Songs. It's God's Opera. The ping of one empty bottle clinking against another beside my bed as I pull up the Cabernet to finish off the last glass for the night sounds like a symphony orchestrated by the celestial stars. Every empty bottle is a note. Every bottle is an accomplishment. Every bottle is a poem. Every bottle is a story. Every bottle is in my blood. It's in my mind. It's in my kidneys. It's in my liver. It's in my words. Every bottle is in me, is of me, is for me, is by me, is with me. Every bottle loves me like I love it. Simpatico, forever. Amen. This is another one from the next collection, Chaos Songs. One night pass. She bled crimson lust with dragon breath when the fire came to wash my soul to hell and back with a one-night pass to fever dream city as Satan moaned at every touch of flesh and hissed from fangs that poured ecstatic venom. She laughed long and hard with eyes lit up as the sky wept down in bullet point rain straight to the vein with mercury overload, singeing the chaos of a symphony choir, in love with the siren that remains a liar, but still gets the meal in the end.
Miss Holly Holt. It's amazing how many people on this team did not like me at all when they first laid eyes on me, and Miss Holly Holt is one of them. And about 2 months after earning my way in at school where we both teach, she decided to help me once I lay prostrate and say, "Please, can I have some more?" So, after she helped me not get fired, she gave me 3 poems and said, "Well, I do write as well." And I had to come back and fuss at her for keeping it from me as long as she did. And like many, I see something fantastic and not doing too well with boundaries or rules or times of day or being on time. I drug her kicking and screaming into the daylight and hoped that on the way she didn't shoot me in the face. And in standing testament, I'm here today, sweaty, and looking at a woman who has been my best friend and done more for the collective than even I. And without her help, this wouldn't be. And so now she is here to read some poems to make us all happy.
Okay, so I have 3 poems. The first one is called Somewhere Gold. Sometimes the wind sighs on days where the skyline has room for black alone, and permits a sagging weight to fall from shoulders where mortality seems least trusting to rest. And you, the better of me, cause these eyes to pause, whispering my name as if each syllable carried an infinity of violets softly through my ears, prompting my wearied mind to clear as if sweet music wafted through the holes of my sad heart. But the wind cannot sigh forever, to move reality as gently as leaves through oaks of old. When you are the compilation of false notions, beloved fiction, another life, somewhere sighing, another life, somewhere gold. Poem 2 is Twice Tasted. My mouth won't release food already swallowed, easy going down, just as time won't bring back the quiet, sad-eyed youth who still dreams with a head full of stars the way she used to, still tries holding on to stars that fall away, and still believes God's surest light and mercy dances across the horizon after all the stars are gone. Seconds tasted twice never satiate the desire for life, just as memories can devour the living poetry of now. So choose. Feed your soul, or sit, reminisce, and starve. And point number 3, that which develops. Maybe the truth wouldn't hurt if we didn't develop so many lies within ourselves. Our eyes take the pictures of darkness as much as light, of hate as much as love, of greed as much as charity, of vile intent as much as good deeds. Yet our hearts provide the dark room located between our souls and this world, under our control to turn a morning of coffee strong into one where we defend or defect the defenseless. What we bring from this room are the images that define our thoughts, be they crafted in devilry or the divine. And truth is freedom developed.
tortoise and the hare. If you asked them, neither the tortoise nor the hare could tell you how the traditional race began between their respective species. It has been suggested that both were a little reactionary, since being mistaken for a turtle or a rabbit was a common occurrence to them. At any rate, after a long lapse in this traditional competition, it was revived in hopes of bringing more business into the community. "Dude, I am way faster than you," the hare commented in the hours before the race. "Maybe, but your overconfidence has always proven to be your undoing," the tortoise retorted. The hare chortled, "Not this time, pal. I'm not going to party all night long, so I'm too tired to race. I'm not going to outsmart myself. None of that. Just a straight-up race, you and me. It's just in a few hours, too." A long smirk cut across the tortoise's beak. "We'll see about that." In concerns of keeping the race fair, the judges who, in the interest of impartiality, were neither hare nor tortoise, decided that either the hare should be handicapped, it was suggested that a large weight be attached to him, or the tortoise should be enhanced. A motorized dolly was wheeled out, replete with braces for the tortoise. The hare and his kin protested this vociferously. Their need to win was great. The hares had never defeated the tortoises in the long history of the race, as was well known to all the animals of the forest. This was a source of great shame to them. With the magnanimity of those in superior positions, the tortoise offered the decision be made by the hare. "Let him use the rocket," the hare said glumly. When the race began, the hare shot off at full tilt, seeming to give everything he had to the initial course. This was, it seemed, unwise, so it was hardly a good strategy for a long-distance race. After not too much time, the tortoise began to catch up. His dolly rattled loudly as its motor accelerated. He smiled at the hare and said something that was inaudible under the puttering of the engine. The tortoise was soon side by side and began to pass when suddenly the hare pulled out a gun and shot several holes into the motor. The fuel ignited, causing a massive explosion. Later, it was unclear whether the explosion or the fire that followed led to the death of the tortoise. The hare maintained his course and finished the race. When asked about the tortoise, he was frank about its fate. The judges were incensed. Many thundered that the hare should not only be disqualified, criminal prosecution needed to follow. "Now wait a minute. You never said it mattered how I win. It was just that I win," the hare declared. "There were no rules." Before the judges could levy their pronouncements, the other hares in the stands rioted. They tore down the bleachers and set fire to the judges' wooden booths. The judges fled, along with any non-hare present that could escape. The tortoises that were present to support their own did not fare so well, being far too ponderous to get away. "How's the race now? Is it fair now?" the hares said as they bound them to motorized dollies that were made to crash and explode. When all was finished, the only semi-undamaged piece of the affair was a mud-spattered banner that advertised the race. This the hare made sure to hang on the wall of his warren. Needless to say, races of this sort do not take place anymore. But it could hardly be argued that the hares did win, and that by winning the final time, they might as well have won all the races. They certainly said they did, and no one was going to tell them otherwise. This is the thrush of you. Even hearing the thrush of you, I long for the thrush of you with orange hearth-burned songs amid the chilled fountains of evening, 2 stars in night circus, one the brighter, the other mortal, both broken from the argent eggs of swans during the watch of the dusk, silent without knell, the full wine drunken nocturnes of crocus moons that cup white the palms, and through October shadows mourn, fall the pave that none walk upon as it winds the nave of you. The life that comes from the life that comes from life and sleep on hearth, sleep in the garden, sleep on the strand, before the breaking white horses of the surf, waking twain, supine, at the left hands of all gods, enthroned on the stones of the world, we together, full of our glad furies, touring highlands, wealds, and meadows, with lyres in hands, lutes in mouths, and the deep earth languorous, chants to the other sides, where we found only ourselves and ourselves only. And then it was then, with memorials curated and epitaph still writing to regards of all our curving lives. Myself. I met myself the other day. It happened by accident. And by that, I mean it wasn't planned. We both didn't know the other existed. The first time we passed each other silently, curiously glaring at one at the other. I was on my way to work. He was leaving and going home. I saw myself again later in the week. Apprehensive, I hoped I wouldn't notice myself. But our eyes furtively met, and one acknowledged the other awkwardly. We hurried our separate ways. I saw myself again today. Sometimes I wish it wouldn't see me, and that I'd go where I was before I knew I was there and stay that way.
And first, we have Jennifer Avery, a delicate young lady from North Georgia who knows many curse words but does not use them. But in all seriousness, Jennifer I met in 1997 at Shorter College in Rome, Georgia. And she was a writer then, and she is an even better writer now. And the senior year in school of mine and her junior, she whooped me in a poetry writing contest, which she will quickly tell you, and I thought that I would jump in now and say before she could. And now she will be reading from her novel, an excerpt.
I'm going to read a part of my novel here. It's kind of in the middle of it, but just a quick background on what I'm trying to accomplish with this. I'm very tired of cynicism in culture. I'm very tired of shows like Breaking Bad, and it's nothing but cynicism. And I don't need to be entertained by this because I'm too aware of how screwed up the world is. So I would like to escape. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this book. It's a romance, and it is called Fangirl Fairy Tale. And that is exactly what I'm trying to do with it. I'm trying to create a mythology, a fairy tale that will work for the modern world. And so this is a part of it. My lovers have whisked themselves off to a town that I created called Kenny, and they are visiting with some of Maddie's extended family and friends. And this is where part of the subplot comes in. Mick and Maddie lingered over coffee and breakfast, neither in a rush to leave the comfort of the cabin. Only after a long shower did they embark for lunch at the home of Cheryl Larson, a woman Maddie identified as the white chief of the Kenny Band and as the maker of Mick's Jasper ring. The woman who answered the door when they arrived appeared ancient and frail, although wisdom beyond measure glowed through sapphire eyes. She was a vision of lingering beauty, dark as red eagle with black silver-streaked hair down to her waist. When Maddie introduced him to her, this fairy queen looked him over in a way that left him feeling stripped bare and wide open, just as Red Eagle had. But it wasn't unpleasant in either instance, and as Cheryl studied the ring she'd made, now on Mick's finger, he somehow understood that she approved of all she saw in him. She invited them inside and insisted they tuck into an enormous meal of countless dishes spread over a tiny table in the kitchen. Mick was astonished such a meal could be consumed at midday, but Maddie explained it was common here. We call it dinner because the noon meal is still the biggest of the day for a lot of folks here. They joined a man and 2 children at the table who were also having dinner with the White Chief. Mick soon learned that the man was Cheryl's son, Steve, and the little boy and baby girl were his children. Steve Larson was a dashing bloke with long black hair, broken by a wide streak of white rooted at the hairline. His eyes were a supernatural sort of grassy green that struck Mick as very familiar. After some conversation, he learned that they had met once before, when Mick interviewed him for an Atlanta publication about 5 years ago. Mick suddenly remembered that he and the lads had taken Steve busking when they learned he had brought his banjo along. As Mick recalled, Steve was such a master of the instrument that he had earned himself at least $200 in tips. The Larson children were a delight, bright, funny, and utterly charming. The black-headed 4-year-old Aaron was the spit and image of his father. The red-headed angel of a baby girl, Mamie, was all smiles and seemed immediately smitten with Mick, just as her brother clearly favored Maddie. Somewhere between bites of an incredible meal, questions and jokes thrown about the table, and hilarious baby and brother antics, Steve's wife walked in, dressed in a drab green uniform that proclaimed her a state park ranger. Lynn Larson was the genetic inspiration for Mamie's red hair and cheerful demeanor. Fiery and funny, Mick understood why Steve was so attentive and obviously mad for her. She and Maddie were dear friends, and Mick loved witnessing their sisterly rapport as they caught up on children, work, and the state of friends. After dinner, they adjourned to Cheryl's back porch to take a delightful view of the town below and the mountains beyond from the great comfort of an army of rocking chairs. After an hour or so of conversation among the adults and entertainment from the children, Mick counted all the Larsons present among his very favorite people. Mamie crawled into Mick's lap during a lull in the conversation. He put his arms around the sleepy 1-year-old and smiled as he rocked her and himself half to sleep. "Are y'all coming to Marty's tonight?" Steve's question roused him from a bit of a trance. Luckily, Maddie was more prepared to answer. "Absolutely," she said and smiled at Mick as he patted Mamie's little back. "I've told Mick about Friday nights at Marty's." "Ah, yeah, it's the guitar circles, is it?" "Of course, mate, of course. We wouldn't miss such a crack." "Crack?" Lynn laughed at the odd word usage. "Fun," Maddie explained, "kind of." "Crack is an iron institution, love." "But crack that is 90 is a rare and wonderful thing," Maddie added. "Aye, that it is, very, that it is." Lynn chuckled. "Just don't let Maddie sing, Mick. You'll regret it for the rest of your life." "Ouch, am I really that bad?" "Yes." Even Cheryl joined in the chorus, leaving Mick in little doubt. Mick laughed. "Oh, but my Maddie sings in other ways, eh, love?" Cheryl laughed and levered herself slowly out of her chair. "Save it, hun. Y'all can do all your sweethearting at the barn jam tomorrow. If I know my eldest boy, y'all best all get home and take you a nap before the singing starts." Steve smiled knowingly at his mother as he got up from his chair. "All right, y'all. You got your orders from Mama herself, and we got ours." Mick rose with Mamie in his arms and handed her off to her mother. Steve turned to gather his son from his engrossment in an array of sticks and leaves gathered on the porch, and the rest tried to talk Cheryl into letting them help with the dishes. Just as Cheryl insisted that she would do them her own self, a tall, middle-aged native bloke with close-cropped hair and the air of a 19th century landlord sauntered through the open door and into the hall without a knock or acknowledgement. At first, Mick thought the man was a close family friend or relative, but the expressions on the Larsons and Maddie's faces suggested rather the opposite. Further proving this theory, Cheryl had produced a shotgun from a corner near the porch door and now trained it on the sweating interloper's face. The long, heavy firearm looked like something that would shatter Cheryl's delicate frame, but she held it with authority that suggested she'd not hesitate to fire if the need presented itself. "What are you doing here, boy?" Cheryl's low, defiant tone was terrifying in a voice that had rolled sweet and soft only moments ago. "Didn't my mama tell you she'd shoot you the next time you come calling, Robbie?" Steve had closed the door to shield his son from the scene, and Lynn stood beside him, cradling Mamie's face to her breast. "And didn't I tell you the same?" "This must be the Ross git." Mick looked over at Maddie, whose face had heated to a violent, rusty hue he'd never seen on her. She clenched her jaw and looked ready to pounce. Mick couldn't begin to account for all the evil that had warranted such a reaction from this quiet, sweet fairy or her even-tempered friends. "Hold up, Cheryl. I thought you was the peace chief." Steve had begun to move purposefully towards Robbie, but Lynn stopped him with an elbow to his arm as she held Mamie closer. "Robbie, if you think you have business here, you'd best think again and take it elsewhere. If you're here for a social call, you better make amends for the last one before you move one of your tar feet another inch into this house." "And Cheryl's the white chief, you poser, not the peace chief," Maddie returned. "Aw, Maddie, always a scholar, ain't you? The prettiest and the smartest." Mick put his arm around her, both to calm her and to claim her, in front of this git who continued to stare at his fairy like she was a slice of tart. Despite the glowing flare of malice within him, he maintained his calm and suggested, "Oi, mate, I don't know you, but me friends here seem rather put off by your presence here. Now, even though I don't know what you've done beyond attempting to turn this beautiful bit of fairyland into a sodding amusement park for rich wankers, you're staring at me lady in a way I don't care for. So I suggest, mate, that you state your purpose or be along your way." Robbie took a step back, but maintained a tone that belied the shade of fear in his dark eyes. "Who are you?" "I'm Mick Foster, and you're Robbie Ross?" "I see my reputation precedes me." Swagger and conceit had conquered fear. "Precede, you idiot," Maddie snarled. "All right, Robbie, either say what you came to say or get on." Steve had recovered his temper, but his voice still boiled and threatened to bowl over. Robbie Ross shrugged his shoulders dismissively despite being visibly shaken by the wall of contempt and turned on his heel to walk back out onto the front porch. He turned back a moment and oozed, "Don't matter. The city council will see a reason even if the tribal one won't. Y'all just wait till next spring. Next time it'll be y'all who's trespassing." With that, he sauntered and shook down the steps and into a gauche penis-mobile of a Porsche. Cheryl kept him in her sight until the car disappeared around the bend. "Good Lord, that boy makes me hate, and I don't hate." Cheryl sighed and set the shotgun back in its designated corner, seeming out of strength. "You and me both, Mama." Steve gave his mother a gentle squeeze. "But you scared the crap out of him." Cheryl chuckled. "Yeah, I reckon." She turned a stern face now to her son. "You don't need to let that boy loose up your temper, Stevie. It ain't good for you." "It ain't good for none of us," Maddie agreed. "That jerk ain't good for none of us." "Now, sweetie," Cheryl cooed, the sweetness and softness now restored to her voice and being. "Don't fret while you're on vacation. The city council ain't as friendly to his scheme as he thinks." "Yeah, but the state senate is," Lynn countered. "It's going to be a fight yet, y'all. You better believe we're gonna, too." Maddie seemed ready for war, and Mick was prepared to become a soldier.
Next is Hani Zweibel, who I met 4 years ago at a poetry reading in Atlanta, Georgia. And at the time, I thought, that is the tiniest, cutest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then she hopped up on the chair and read a poem so angry, looking directly at me, that I was afraid that somehow I had crossed her and hid in the backseat of my car. Since then, apparently, with people around, I feel quite safe. And in those 4 years, I honestly can't say without thinking too much about it that she has grown as an artist more than anyone else. And she has graced us with her presence here today on Dante's Old South with some of her words of sunshine, joy, and kittens.
Thanks, Cliff. This is called Looking at a Jar of Strawberries. The jar is in the crook of my neck, next to my shadow. Beyond, the windmill's metal lattice legs support a wheel of blades. Inside the glass jar, red berries are tumbled. Dying, they breathe no more the vine's chlorophyll breath. A glass letter B and a fat red strawberry would embrace each other, except separated by the glass barrier of the jar, their universe. Trees' shadows are in the driveway. I see the garage door and a shadow from another side, the rain barrel. A Victorian girl's face, wearing a ghostly top hat filled with real strawberries, right from the kitchen garden, and a reflection of my face, my muted shadow. Summer's promise in the spring sun, strawberries glowing plump and bright, beyond the glass jar's transparent embrace, untilled garden spits up one pokeweed. Spring underground. In chilled damp black earth, under onion grass, new spring's fresh, plush vegetable carpet. Eager child's dirt-smeared fingertips dig. Pliable soil for cool, thick caress of soft ground like dark paint. She touches mossy velour blankets, keeping trees' feet warm. She does not know deep embedded roots reach thirsty depths, their hidden walls mining water far beneath the dreams of leaves. Buried in quiet caves below, forgotten as naught but rusted pipelines planned long ago while a modern city sits atop their bones. And this one is dedicated to the memory of my grandparents, Earl and Charlotte Zweibel. My grandparents' kitchen. One dirty blue towel, red cherries, and edge of tablecloth, jewel blue of a potato chip bag, of a heart that was a beer. Cardinal, capital, crush, sitting cross-legged on a chair in my grandparents' kitchen. Dusty, smoke-yellowed room, 120 years old. Branch lifts in the moonlit air. In a bottle of drink, the dream, snow. One red jewel of a cardinal sitting on a branch in the snow.
Now we have Cliff Brooks, the most awesome man in the world, who's going to read something that has some sunshine, some stars, and they talking about dying and killing him. How did I become that guy? Untitled poem, but a symphony still in key. This apartment has the appeal of a church, though not for much longer. Winter will soon be a stranger. You are an attraction that won't leave me hunched. I tell Jack Frost often, to go away, you can't stay. And in the end, I get to spy you in a miniskirt. I howl in a not-so-wicked way, a way in used to. Faustian folk like to think that way, but I feel the sun. I bark like a drunk, only this time it's more like one that you left with and not at. The cold is not sunk in me, but rather now I am in spring with you swimming in daisies. My visceral pair and its experience, its palpitations, it is a Japanese garden of yellow maples, moving far, far away. Hyacinths grow like the gospel. Memory plays in my life. Though not as narcissistic as some might think, as one acquaintance once called me, I am completely true to you, and there is nothing wrong with that. I am in the woods, or at least I am the light breaking through trees. I am a fish in a falcon's bill. Now my name, I have no name. I have no badge. But I have no nightmare to share either. This is a tale. It tells of a dark-haired lady, tough as smooth pine knots. She smells of this Artemis, and she is an orchid. She reads like my favorite books. Spring is not a season, it is a sense of self. More flesh appeals in the warmth than apples do in Georgia. I chase her peaches. I do. Indeed, I am free to do the kind of deed of darning sweaters for next winter, to make the whole of us, me and you, thrive in the right rain. We will come again, here, 3 dozen times, come here. We'll make love in a hammock. Owe no one. And know why Otis Redding pleaded for tenderness. Because you just gotta try a little. Our state will encase us, as will tenderness, and we'll enjoy anonymity. We will come here, again, here, 3,000 more times, come here. There's no love without it. There's no love without you. I am always left amazed and humbled by the family and friends who join in the symphony of Dante's Old South. I can't thank our guests enough. I want to give the biggest note of gratitude to Richard Wenham and WUTC for allowing this band of righteous heathens and scandalous angels the airtime to prove art isn't dead. What is more important is that we are breathing, dancing, singing souls of both the left and right brain, capable of creating something together without the stereotypical pitfalls the world at large has every reason to believe. We do not want to prove ourselves, nor do we, through words. No, we bolster the public's faith in creative expression through action. I absolutely understand why those within the arts and those who have a passion for them from the outside believe what the Southern Collective Experience is doing won't work. It is not a burden to me. It excites me through radio shows like Dante's Old South that we can begin a trend to remedy that sore spot. Faith is love, and we have faith in the love we do. And we will not make it up to the stars without people like you. So we stay here and instill in you hope, and in us hope, and people, and melody. That people and melody of a genuine soul can change the drudgery we have endured for too long. I would humbly like to ask, in order for us to expand our adventure, that you visit our website, www.southerncollectiveexperience.com. and see all that we're doing there. Anything that you can spare from just time to read our lines will get all of us closer to Elysium. It's time to fill this void, and let's do it together. Let me thank again Peter Restucia, Hani Zweibel, Jennifer Avery, Scott Thomas Outler, Holly Holt, Dale Yancey, and Yvonne Wamps. My name is Clifford Brooks, and we want to build for you a world that dances in thought, good citizens. You'll hear from us again soon. I pray you take solace in our endeavor, and I ask the heavens that this show give you peace.